Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to HR Week 2022. And again, if you just joined us, I know a lot of people are popping in, popping out, whatever suits them. And that's exactly what this is designed to do for people, all designed for you to work around your schedule on demand completely throughout the week. And remember, everything you've missed, even if you just popped in the week for a couple of sessions, remember, when this is in the future, not too long, I believe next week at some point, hopefully, when all the content is edited, it will be available every single day, the whole week, every single session, every single word that's spoken through the lens, through the screen, will be available for you on demand. So the great thing is, even if you've missed a lot of this week, you'll be able to see it all over again at your leisure, as many times as you like, if you want to do that. And I know there's some people that like to do that. In fact, we know there are some people who are HR night owls who come out at night. That's true. Like from midnight till 3 o'clock the other day, about 150 people were actually walking around, sleepwalking maybe, through the HR zone and the learning zone, which is fine because we remember the platform is open 24/7 all week for you attendees to do exactly as you wish. Pop in and out as many times as you like. Right, let's move on now to our next session. This is all about business agility, and business agility starting with Agile HR. Intrigued? Yes, you are. So am I. Let's move now over to the moderator, who will shape this conversation certainly in the right fashion with the right flavor as well. Please welcome Sandra Nešić. Sandra.
Hi, Peter. Pleasure to see you again.
Good to see you again. Good to see you again. Wonderful. Listen, I'm doing great. You're looking great as well. Where are you right now? Is that home? Is it office? Is it home office? Is it home office? I don't know. Looks home, good. It looks great office. Behind you.
Office everywhere at home. So yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to leave it over to you now. Your panelists will join you as soon as I leave. They'll take my place. And towards the end, again, if there are any questions, you'll see them on the screen. So I'll meet you right at the end, just before you finish.
Thank you for that. I'm hoping some of those HR owls are agile HR owls, so they will be intrigued and they will find something useful out of this next session. So as Peter introduced me, hi, my name is Sandra Nešić. I come from ICT Hub. I work there as a head of innovation consultancy. And over the last years, and especially last couple of years, I come to realize that a lot of things regarding business agility has to do a lot of things with HR, and especially if HR is agile and agile empowering ways of thinking and working within organizations, we are on a good path. It is my pleasure, and I'm so excited to welcome my panelists so we can explore how their views on this topic and share some of their experiences. I will just, before I introduce them, like to share that we all agree on that in today's business environment, like we have no other option when we are dealing with crises as a regular reality and not something that's abnormal, but to be really empowering those who are bringing the change, and those are employees. So we need to empower their growth and capabilities and skills so they can better sense and respond to everything happening within and around the organization. So Agile HR is super important there, and I'm so happy to introduce them finally. And maybe I can start with Margarita Yonova-Popova. She's People and Culture Transformation Lead at Erste Group. A lot of years of experience in bringing organizational change, empowering change, doing change management, cultural development, and everything else. And I think she has a lot of great stories to share about her work within Erste Group. She also is co-founder of something that is called Agile Hub at Erste Group, where she is working very intensively to support people, practices, and change in mindset and empowering them just on their agile journeys. Margarita, thank you for being here with us and for your participation.
Thank you, Sandra.
Next is kind of a team, a duo coming from British American Tobacco, and it was a really pleasure to come to this conclusion that they both should be on this panel, since they are working so jointly and with like joint forces on bringing the change to BAT. First, maybe I can introduce Milan. Milan Bjelanović is still currently a cluster HR manager, if the title is not changed in the meantime, for Serbia and Almaco. I think what is most important from my experience on Milan taking different roles in HR is that he's heavily involved in all transformational initiatives at BAT. He's also a member of Innovation Committee. He certified himself in a lot of Agile trainings, and that's something that is also bringing him to what is jointly important for him and Omar Vazquez, also coming from BAT, of being true Agile practitioners and believers. Omar is Information and Digital Technology Corporate Manager at South Europe area at BAT. I realized that his entire experience is all about transformation and change, digital transformation, and empowering now digital agenda and digital maturity at BAT. And when I first was kind of introduced to do this panel, and the topic that we chose was around agility, my first thought was on bringing someone who's Agile expert, and I was so pleased to have Miloš saying yes to being here with us. Miloš Zeković, he's Agile coach, true Agile expert, and someone that I know for years, and so passionate about everything that he's doing and promoting. And he's the one here having opportunity to experience and bringing Agile in different environments, in different industries, organizations, and empowering teams very, very directly. So again, thank you all for being here today. And maybe I can kick off with a question that is always good to answer at the beginning, around what does being truly Agile mean to you? Because from my experience, when people get familiar with Agile, they start to bring it together with their thoughts on frameworks and some prescriptions on how to work, so they can become and be on their path to become more agile. Being truly agile to you, what it is, and maybe we can start with Margarita. I was just joking the other day, I had a lot of panels in the last couple of months, and mostly they were just like one man and all female on the panel. So we have kind of reverse situation here, but it's okay. It's going to be a fun crowd.
Great. So yeah, exactly. It's going to be a fun crowd, and I hope that our audience enjoys our discussion today. Great question to start. I have to say that we already started with the fun, because I already share the experience that you mentioned in my career as Agile coach, and later on as Agile transformation lead. Many people have hard time defining and articulating what exactly we bring and what is Agile, and they think, Scrum, so Kanban, maybe a little bit of Lean here and there. So they start defining this in this way, and they often tell me, we don't really know what you do as an Agile coach, but since you're here, things are much better. So for me, really, being truly Agile, coming back to your question, is Agile for me is a philosophy. It's a philosophy to how we work. It's a philosophy to how we approach each other, how we collaborate. And therefore, for me, it is a philosophy to create a better environment for our people and teams to be able to learn, grow, and collaborate together in a better way to become the best version of themselves. So for me, it's really enabling this great, happy, healthy environment where teams feel great, where they have the chance to express themselves, where they have the chance to learn and grow. And it's not just about getting things done, and delivering, ticking the box. It's really about having the environment which allows you and enables you and encourages you to be curious, to think about what is really the value we need to deliver to our customers now. What is really necessary to tackle in terms of pain points? Why these pain points and not other ones? So this is the kind of, for me, what means truly agile. If you have such environment in place that encourages you to think around these questions rather than getting stuff done and delivered, then you have reached a truly agile environment where you can count on each other, you can grow, and you can add value.
Thank you. I'm so glad we are recording this because I just love how you define it. Milan, for you, being truly agile.
I mean, really, in the simple terms, being truly agile is a prerequisite today. It's really about responding to world nowadays, to VUCA, as we may call it. I think we are all familiar about nomenclature nowadays. It's really finding out solutions, how you can be faster, more innovative, and whatever can give you the edge over the competition in these days. It goes along. If I would say, who is agile, it's the one that is really experimenting massively and has a lot of learning on the way. So this is how I would define it. And if you ask me, it's really about principles and values. I agree with Margarita. You may have mentioned and touched on the same thing about the philosophy. So yeah, psychological safety, transparency. As they say, individuals and interactions. So this is what it is all about. Yeah.
Thank you. And Omar, do you share the same we want to learn it all approach?
Yes, for me, adding, about what they said, taking into account the current environment where we are, okay, with globalization, with smart working or working from home approach, it's about collaboration, it's about real engagement, okay, it's about employee empowerment, okay, and providing them the right space to experimenting, for learning, but also with a clear focus on the business and the business value, reducing as much as possible the risk. Okay, so that's the let's say the final outcome that we like to follow. Okay.
Thank you. And Miloš, no one mentioned any sprints or backlogs or anything, so I'm expecting that at some point.
Actually, I'm very happy nobody mentioned those. And as I'm listening to the answers, I'm really very happy that we are moving away from just practices and how do we solve, and we are really going into being agile and empowering. And it's also reflecting some of the things that are happening in the agile community of agile coaches, and we are more and more talking about agility versus being agile, right? That it's not an agile tool, and we are not on that. It's actually who I am. Or who are we as a system, as an organization, as a team. So how I would define agility is really, in short, being human, right? So remembering what being human is and bringing that to work, as opposed to work being something different than ticking the boxes and being serious, etc., right? So I would say, for those who don't know what VUCA is, so I'm going to spell out some of those. So really being fulfilled and thriving in the volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world today. Regardless if you're just a human, just one person, or is it a human system of teams or many, many people, but thriving and being fulfilled. And with that comes the solution and learning and doing really awesome things, not just ticking the boxes, but really, really doing awesome things. And to satisfy Sandra, and if that's through sprints, then yes, do that.
We need iterations, right? I'm sure our audience is looking to learn how you are bringing this to your organization, and how is this starting to live and already living in your companies and through your practices. So again, I would love to start with Margarita here and ask her, how is she actually enabling a transformation for Erste Group towards more agility, and how critical your involvement from your position is?
Let me first maybe disseminate what transformations are, because we often also get lost in defining what is an agile transformation and so on. Transformations like these often essentially at its core are about improving how we make decisions, how we collaborate, how we work together, how we co-create, how we communicate. Yeah, so often things like this. And everything in these transformations ideally is linked to a nice purpose, right? So an end towards achieving something. So we want to see a certain outcome. For example, we at Erste, we have been founded more than 200 years ago with a very clear purpose to bring prosperity to the people. And now more than ever, we continue to be committed to doing so and to make a difference, a positive one, in the financial lives of our customers, in our region, and for our societies. So being united around strong purpose is very important for every transformation in order to then focus on what is it that we want to improve. The sad part of this is that we often get lost in what these transformations really can bring. We start focusing on operating models, on bringing structures, new roles, explaining to people how the new roles are better than what we have so far, and pushing the change to happen through organizations. And in these efforts that happen, we often forget that it's not operating models who deliver value, who bring the difference. It's the people who bring value and who create this wow moment for customers, for products, and so on. And this is where HR plays an important role, and why I believe HR is keen to that, because in their core, such transformations inevitably tackle people, culture, and mindset. And therefore, HR needs to be part of that. And we as HR, and me and my role, and the colleagues working on these things, are important contribution. And I'm saying HR is part of a driving team. Always, I see it as a key enabler in a change, in a change journey. Not necessarily in the leading role. Why? Because transformations are complex, right? So they cannot be driven just by one pocket from somewhere, but it's a team effort. It's a combination of capabilities that you need to involve. And HR is one of those capabilities necessary to always be the mindset pusher, if you will, who reminds, hey, it's a change, it's a transformation. It's not about boxes, it's about people, it's about mindset, it's about culture, it's about leadership. So how do we ensure that these elements are part of our journey? And it's also an opportunity for HR, for example, while doing that, while contributing to that, to also hold sometimes the mirror to itself as a function, right? So if we want to become an agile organization, HR is part of that organization. So inevitably, HR will also need to change its game and change and evolve into a role, into a function that can sustain, that can support all of that journey in a sustainable way. So this is how I would see the role, and also how I see our contribution to that.
Thank you for laying out this for us very, very clearly. My next question, I mean, it can go both to Omar and Milan. Your company is an industry that's really aiming to transform itself, and I think it's maybe one of the most challenging industries to transform, and it's most important than ever for companies in your industry to become empowered by different ways of working and thinking, and becoming more adaptable towards the purpose you are having, and the future you're envisioning for your companies. So maybe, Omar, just to start with you, how did you start with, let's say, Agile agenda at BAT, and what was some of the first initiatives and steps you had like taken, and some of the milestones you already delivered and show some improvement, I guess?
Good question. I can tell you that we started with digital quotient. I don't know if you know it. It's a Gartner methodology used to measure the digital maturity of the companies. Okay, so I don't remember if it was in 2020, Milan. I guess it was 2020, right? The first assessment that we did. They're comparing us with other, let's say, industries in the same, other companies in the same industry with, let's say, digital trends, and they provided us with that assessment our position in that, let's say, benchmark. Okay, they provided us opportunities and also strengths. Mainly, they define 5 pillars. One is innovation, data, automation, leadership, and agile. One of the words agile. And in that moment, we started the best partnership and let's say friendship also with HR. So that's the one of the key elements about the success story, because we define kind of agenda with which each of the pillars. Okay, like one squad for innovation, one for agile, one for others. And in the agile part, we define a clear focus on 2 main activities: learning and doing. In the learning path, we started with some basic trainings, agile fundamentals for the employees. More than 70 people were trained. Also to expose them to different ways of thinking and doing, like design thinking workshops, okay, that we cover with them. But again, learning was not enough. We know that if we want to learn something, you need to practice. And what we did, we started to expose those people already trained to some project to be run in an agile way of working with iteration, as you said at the beginning. But it was like quite unstructured, and we look for a kind of hook that we can use to, let's say, to increase the appetite of the employees on that part. And in this case, we brought the innovation pillar. Okay, in the innovation pillar, we activated an innovation committee where Milan, as you said at the beginning, Milan and myself, we are part of. It's a cross-functional committee, so it's covering all the functions cross-country, across the area. There are no grades, so we have people with different grades. So we are trying to cover the all, let's say, scope or all, scope of the area. Okay, what's the purpose of that committee? To boost innovation. Twice a year, we are launching Shark Tank. I don't know if you know the TV show where entrepreneurs, they are going with their own brilliant ideas and they need to to get the sharks to fund the project. We are doing kind of the same in BAT. How it works? So the innovation committee, it's publishing a challenge, okay, a business challenge, just to any, let's say, opportunity that we have, we are publishing that, and all the employees can apply with their crazy ideas with that challenge to solve it. So it means that we have more than 1,000 brains working together to define, their solutions on that. The innovation committee it's finally reached, let's say, defining which are the best solutions, and in exactly the same that we have in the TV show. There is a pitch where the employee needs to go and needs to, let's say, to defend in 5 minutes their idea. The sharks are real sharks. They are challenging a lot and raising a lot of questions. And at the end, they are deciding which idea they need to fund or they will fund. Why this is important and how this is connected with Agile? Because as we saw, Agile is not only a pillar. It's a real cross-functional one that it's tackling innovation, automation, data, and all of them. In the innovation part, what we are doing is those ideas that are finalists, that are decided by the innovation committee to be funded, that we are empowered the employee to, let's say, to test it, we are supporting them to run it in an agile way of working. So we are providing a Scrum Master, defining the rules, the iterations, and so on and so forth, and activating here the proof of concept approach. Okay, that I think that we will touch this after. So with this, just to recap, we are finding a good hook, which is innovation, but also finding the way to empower the employees to create collaborative teams, cross-functional teams, okay, to work together to solve one of those challenges that we are raising. Okay, so that's one example about what's the activity that we are running.
Maybe Milan can share his point of view here. I know he's heavily involved in all of these activities.
Yes. So I think it's a good overview that Omar has provided. We are indeed using this kind of innovation system, as one of the grounds for our agility and overall transformation journey, I would say. And it really provided an opportunity to have over 20 projects, if I recall correctly, over the course of 2 years, to be run using the Agile methodology. And those projects, you can imagine, are tackling various issues, whether it produces, I don't know, additional revenue streams, are there to enable sales growth or simplify things. There are also HR projects, which we provide a lot of values for a lot of value for HR. And through this, we have really kind of provided opportunity for this bunch of people to be shifted from their I don't know, actual roles, or prescribed role profiles. Yeah, so shifting the organization towards more of a cross-functional way of working. And we can say that it really pays off. On short term, I think, it's buying the benefits on long term from the learning perspective. So as an organization, I think, Margarita, again, you have touched on this. We are there for a century, so we do have hierarchy in place. We are present in 180 markets. But this is something what helps in shifting the organization design, somewhere away from the strict hierarchy structure. Yeah. Again, providing opportunity for people to again reinvent themselves, be more inspired, be more empowered, accountable, to find themselves in the situation where they actually see a lot more, where they appreciate the opportunity to be a part of the story. Yeah, really feel the purpose. So again, it's about acceleration of the learning agenda as well. It's creating, again, in Agile terminology, T-shaped employees or T-shaped people, as you want to say, people that do have their, let's say, functional, heavy and steady grounds, but they're knowing a lot about other parts of the business as well. So it's really, as I have mentioned, paying the benefits on a short and long terms. And I think this is what distinguishes I don't know, the organizations of the future and truly transforming organization nowadays. So it's practically a prerequisite to have kind of the opportunity for such cross-functional collaboration like this.
I really applaud for this initiative, because I'm sure you're learning a lot every day and that you're getting better at this every day, but it helps remove so many obstacles, like turning people that are apathetic to someone who's enthusiastic, and as you mentioned, breaking down the silos and everything else that is kind of maybe one of, let's say, 6 or 7 most commonly familiar obstacles to doing this. Miloš, from your perspective, working as someone who comes externally to the organization, working closely with the team, but also maybe you can share how that relationship looks with HR while you're doing your work and your support. What is your impression there, and maybe some of the, I frame them as do's and don'ts for transforming towards more agility?
Lovely question, and I love the discussion. I would love so much to dig into some of this stuff that was said, but that's for another opportunity.
Yeah, we
right?
need another panel.
Yes, yes. So for external, I would say that it's the best combination I've seen is when you have internal and external working together towards the same goal, because the external brings a fresh view. I'm going to use the term not contaminated with the culture, so more able to bring something out of the box, right? And that can be very, very powerful, which is also why a lot of externals don't actually want to be too long involved with the same customer or the same part of the customer, because we lose that edge, right? On the other hand, the internals have a lot of information, a lot of wisdom, a lot of communication channels really, really going on, and they are the part of the system that we are working with. So I think that riding on this neutrality and these different points of view, but also having different type of authority is what I've seen. And a lot of times when you talk with team coaches or scrum masters, they say, oh God, I told them so many times, and then you come in and you say the same thing and they want to do it. And really, I was a scrum master. I know that is actually true in many, many cases, but really the synergy is between. And when we come with do's and don'ts, some of the most important ones you already said. So don't exclude HR, right? And do involve people. Absolutely, it's a people thing. I also like to say that in many cases, this is really a complex thing. So every organization is very specific with their culture, with their history, with what they want to do, and with their purpose and how do they want to do it. And it's the sum of everyone, whoever was in this company or not. So I don't usually like to use the terms don'ts, do's and don'ts, and try more to go towards try and avoid. So some of the things that I would definitely avoid is also outsourcing culture to HR. Also making fuzzy boundaries between new roles, especially. So Scrum Master, HR, Team Lead, I've seen a lot of unnecessary conflict and confusion around those roles. And also a big one for me is avoid fixing things with trainings. They're just the first step, right, in the game, which is a long game indeed. What I would also like for people to try is to invest in people in different modalities, right? So use also coaching, use mentoring, use communities of practice, so different ways of transferring knowledge. Then secondly, experiment a lot. Don't be married to any framework or whatever somebody told you a year ago or even 3 months or even 2 weeks ago, right? Do experiment, see what works best for you and how and when, and then stop doing that once it doesn't bring purpose or value anymore. And the third one that I would like to mention that I feel don't talk a lot is vertical development. So not just horizontal development in terms of skills and tools that you have, but also vertical in the mindset and the worldview that we see, because there's a huge field of adult development and sense making that we need to discover. And this is one of the really crucial parts in big transformations because it's limited by the leadership mindset. So if we don't actually develop that, we are not using the full potential, not just agility or innovation, but humans.
I couldn't agree more with all of your what to avoid and what to try and what to be persuasive with and persistent with. And Margarita said something at the beginning that as an HR function, you also have to become more resilient, more adaptable, thinking more in different way and working, of course, more in different way. So you can really bring what you need to bring to the people and empower them to grow their own potentials, but also accomplish what is in the purpose and the vision and the business goals for the company. So going there, Margarita, what have you tried or did in the last couple of years that has really empowered HR being agile in Erste Group? Maybe not just in Vienna, we know you're in Vienna, but on other markets.
Yes, absolutely. Our HR change journey, transformation is a heavy word. I don't want to use in this context, but in our change journey, it was triggered by a momentum of our company having a new bold vision. So it was a very good moment for HR to step up and say, okay, if this is where we want to go as an organization and the bold vision that we want to reach, what is really the role that we as HR can play? How do we need to up our game in order to support that? And how is our role changing? So as I mentioned earlier, we started holding the mirror to ourselves and preparing us to better contribute to that. I really love what Miloš said. Culture is not just an HR topic, yes, and we often see how this gets diverted to people, culture, yeah, HR. That's the best place. So we really wanted to reflect on who do we want to be, how do we want to be perceived, how do we want to come across, and how do we want to contribute. And in order to answer all of these questions and to arrive at some of the examples I will share with you, we had series of design sessions. I'm also a fan of collective intelligence. I believe in the power of our people, in their bright minds and creative ideas, and sometimes even crazy ideas. So we kicked off a series of design sessions together with our leadership team, together with our people, colleagues in HR and beyond, really going through simple questions like, what are we proud of today? What are we doing good and we believe can carry on in the future? Who do we want to be? How do we look like? What is our character? How do we want to be perceived? What do we need to focus on? So really a lot of these questions we asked in series of workshops we called design sessions. And it was great how much input we received, how lively discussion this creates. So similar to what Omar and Milan were saying. So in inviting people to participate with their ideas, with their experience, it also created a very positive momentum and enthusiasm, right? Because what we essentially did is, as we say, we honored the past. Yeah, so we are where we are for a reason. We celebrated where we are because there are many things we can be proud. There are many things that we reached and are happy, also from our customer side. And then while we honored the past and celebrated the present, we could embrace the future. And we looked together at the future and we discussed openly what is the future that we want to build, that we want to drive and enable. And we reached eventually in these conversations actually what our change journey is about. It is about bringing a stronger employee experience, upskilling HR significantly in areas like people analytics, employee experience, business partnering, and so on. We also have a very ambitious goal to collaborate better together cross-functionally, so to learn how to work with the rest of the organization in a better way. But these goals were originated out of these conversations. And then it was much easier to talk about, okay, and what is the way of work then that we need in order to reach these goals. So we never talked about operating models or tools or practices before we discussed all the questions that I shared with you so far. Then it was easier to say, yes, we need an Obeya room. And this is what we established together. We have Obeya as an approach to our prioritization, planning, and strategic conversations with business across our group in HR. So Obeya is, I'm not sure how familiar is everyone with that, but it is a concept that again comes from Toyota. It's not a rocket science by itself, but our Obeya really helps us by giving us the space to have proper, transparent conversations about what is it that we want to achieve, how are we reaching that, how successful we are in that. And it simply visualizes our priorities and helps us to make good decisions on them based on data. And another thing we came out of these sessions, of these conversations, is that, okay, if we want to upskill each other, HR, if we want to improve our capabilities, if we want to unlock this collaboration beyond boundaries, then yes, we need structures like chapters. For example, we are turning, so we want to turn HR into a chapter format where in that way capabilities can be better addressed. People can have the opportunity to learn, to grow, to be together with other colleagues who share the same destiny, who share the same problems or opportunities, and work together on their skills, on their capabilities in a more focused way. And of course, then we can talk about squads or however we call them, cross-functional teams where we can work openly together on projects that matter, on things that really solve pain points along our employee journey. But you see, all these decisions about structures, frameworks like OBEA and so on came out as a evidence and a conclusion from inviting our colleagues, from reflecting together as an organization, who do we want to be and how do we want to grow and how do we want to look like in 8 years from now.
Yeah, thank you for that. And Peter is here. Peter, can you give us maybe a minute or two to have like final round of questions for our panelists?
I can. Just a minute or two is you certainly can have that. I'll go. They'll take me out now. Take me out, and I'll be back in a minute.
No, stay with us, please. Okay. We've learned so much from Margarita's experience here, but my question again for Miloš, Milan, and Omar is around maybe just sharing a couple of lessons, major important lessons you've learned along the way, and what would you recommend to anyone like starting with where you were a few years ago? Maybe Milan.
Yeah, I can say in very simple terms. When we have started this, do we call it, Margarita, transformation journey or change? What do we say? We were really looking, on how to embed Agile inside the organization. Our first thoughts, is really to start big. Open the big doors, ring on all the bells, involve all the senior stakeholders, but you didn't really, ring the bell in the minds of the senior stakeholders. So my recommendation, if again you have the corporation that is similar size, similar age, like ours, and you want to transform, that you cannot really become a born digital company. You have a large scale, many employees, etc. So the recommendation would be, to start small. Baby steps, start reducing the value, and it will really draw the business case by itself. So we are really moving the needle through the agenda that Omar and myself have presented here. So this would be my clear recommendation. Avoid going big immediately, changing things overnight, because this is not something that is going to happen overnight. It's a marathon, it's a journey, but just start. Just do it.
Miloš, maybe now you can have the floor.
Lovely. I'm listening to which aspects did we not maybe contribute, and I really loved that Margarita covered the we aspect. So who are we as a community, as an organization? And Milan talked a lot about the aspect of the practices and how could you start this and with the structures. So I would add the I aspect of it, right? And that this really starts with you. Whether you're a leader on any level, really first look at yourself. First start the journey for yourself, and then listen to others and yourself and others around you, then make sense of what's going on. And then maybe the crucial point, and this is the only thing when you actually act, is meet people where they are. Meet your team, meet your organization where they really are, not where you would like them to be or where you are. It's not going to serve a purpose for it.
Lovely. And Omar?
My side, yes, very quick and very simple. First, I would say redefine your own Agile framework. Okay, there are a lot of, let's say, ways to practice Agile. If Agile is about flexibility, you need to provide your own flexibility and define the right framework that fits into your own organization. That's basic. The second recommendation is about to find a good hook that can, let's say, boost the Agile way of working. In our case, it was innovation, but it could be data, automation, simplification, whatever you find. But it's a good, let's say, success story that you can put, let's say, as a car, and you can put the Agile as a driver. And the last part, connected with Milan, start small, yes, but also getting, let's say, leadership team sponsorship but starting bottom to top. To skip, business cases, checking, for the immediate revenue. It's better the opposite approach. To start small, try to, in a very quick way, to define something that you can provide very quick value to the, let's say, many stakeholders. Okay, and they are not going to start with the ask about what's the revenue. They are going to see themselves, and this is part of the Agile way of working, right? So we are providing value in a very quick steps.
Peter, I hope our audience really enjoyed this conversation. I know I did, and it was even more enjoyable than the kind of prep conversations we had one-on-one, because it kind of synergized all of your works and thoughts on this topic. And yeah, we're looking forward to have many visitors to view this conversation later on.
Great, I fully agree with you. I think a lot of the audience certainly have enjoyed this, really trying to make sense of Agile HR and what it really means, but also the action we can all do together in a practical sense. Listen, thank you so much, Sandra, and all the panelists as well. Again, those of you that have been with us, curious, like to know more, feel free to reach out. That's what most of us want as well. We want these conversations, to reach out over LinkedIn. I'm sure that you'll be able to connect up, and again, those conversations, take those further as they unfold. All that leaves me now to say is thank you so much for all of your insights, but number one, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much as well.